Hello?
Mohammed, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect, perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was not sure whether we have class tonight or not.
I mean, I slept off. It's our first day here.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's good, good. I was actually talking to my son for a few minutes, and then I came back and I saw you were logged on. So
Okay. Where did we have this open yesterday? It was
the
nice.
UDAs and attribute dimensions.
Hey, I mean, the application on which I had this open. It took me directly. I think it was. Right? Yeah, this one. Okay, here. We done with this, right?
Yeah, we'll finish UDAs and attribute dimensions.
Okay. Just give me 30 more seconds.
Sure.
Okay. So, is the new topic combining business views. Okay. Okay, if you look at the picture, what do you understand? Just look at the picture. Yeah.
The picture on the right hand side seems to be a more efficient way of combining a view.
Combining views. Ah.
Hello? Did I lose you, Mohammed? Hello? 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 Hello?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, moment.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Let me know once you see the screen.
Okay, not yet.
Okay. I think the organizer has to make me the presenter. Do you have the student guide open on your side?
I can open it.
Okay. I mean, while he makes me the presenter, I think he is not looking at chats.
Activity student guide one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, page number?
Lesson number 5, page number 56.
56?
5-6. So it's chapter 5, 6th page.
Chapter 5. Okay.
Yeah, I got it. Don't worry.
Okay. Yep. Okay, so you were asking me, and I was telling you the picture on the right seemed a little more efficient way of organizing the models under the clock.
Yep. Why do you think so?
Because you're using attributes instead of creating a member, probably occupies space.
Sorry, what was that?
No, instead of creating a member, instead of you're creating an attribute. You're using attributes instead of creating separate. Going back to your example about the Pepsi 500 ml cans and bottles. Instead of we're just specifying the property of that instead of we're having an attribute called digital analog, and then we're just tagging it to the models instead of creating trees and like branches in the hierarchy.
Yeah, so you're correct. The left one, I mean, they achieve the same thing, but if you look at the left table, it basically talks about the types of the clocks.
Right.
Okay, so if you look at generation or level 1, the level 1 is digital and analog. This means these are the types. And types of what? The clocks. Okay, now here, what's level 1? This is a product, clocks. This is my level 0, this is my level 1, right?
Yep.
So my level 1 says they are clocks. Here my level 1 says digital and analog. They are the types, right?
Yep.
And then level 2, it's clocks. Okay, so the guide here explains us that, okay, there is, I mean, when you are designing your outline, make it as simple as possible. When I say simple, this could be called simple, and this could also be called as simple. However, in the case of outline, they always want to cut down as many branches as possible. Now there are a few times where you try to make it as a single hierarchy.
You're right.
But there are the adverse effects as well. There are times. So it depends. Okay, sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, but it's always a beautiful habit to have the branches cut down. So, I mean, it's not wrong having this as a draft, okay? And then in your final version, when you design the outline, wherever you find these kinds of branches, probably you can change it like that. Okay, so when you are analyzing the reports, your reports may tell you this, may tell you that they have clocks on the top. I mean, they merged 2 columns as clocks, and in the second row they have digital in one column and analog in another column. something like this. This is how it works, right? And again, on that digital, you have model A, model B, and then analog model C. So your segregation is done at the type of the clock. So you might draw that on a paper as a draft, and then you look for these kinds of types, use attributes or UDAs to make them a single tree. That's the one. Yeah?
Okay.
Why? Why would you do that? Obviously, with BSOs, what's the maximum number of tables, or what's the maximum number of dimensions you can have in an outline?
BSO, I thought we had unlimited.
No. Yes, yeah. BSOs are block storage. It's a block storage option.
Right.
Yeah, and the BSOs, you can have a max of 8, 9, 10 dimensions.
Okay.
Okay, whereas ASO, it's different.
Right. Yeah. I remember you said greater than 10 dimensions. Oracle recommends going for ASO.
Yeah, the logic is simple. Memory management. The bigger the more the number of dimensions, the more the number of blocks. Did we talk about this number of blocks and the block size?
I know in the introduction we just talked about
No, we did
guidelines
not.
for using ASO, BSO, dimensions, sparse, dense, and then we went to aggregate storage. I don't know if we talked.
No, we did not. We did not. We'll talk about it. That's okay. That's one of the important topics.
Sure.
Okay, so the larger the dimension, or the higher the number of dimensions, the worse the performance gets in BSO. Okay, so you don't want to hinder the performance, and if there is a way you can, change the dimensions, or basically combine the business views into one single view or one single dimension, that would be great. That's exactly what it's been explained. Okay. This one is, it's about the labels, basically. Let's see that later, okay? I don't really need this, actually. Okay, this one. Designing primary hierarchies. Okay, what is a primary hierarchy?
It's the main reporting hierarchy where you have all your, account.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Go ahead.
most levels, the most, it does just the whole of your account tree, if you will, if your P&L or balance sheet, that's all the accounts represented in the dimension. That's the primary hierarchy, and then I could have a small alternate hierarchy of just a few specific accounts if I wanted to, something like that.
Okay. All right. So here they took the primary hierarchy as product. Okay. Reason being, this is how do I say? What is the driver of your business? Basically, that's what you need to understand. Okay. So let's pick an example, a business. Let's pick Walmart, or let's pick Coles, whatever. What do you think the driver of that business is?
Walmart, products, obviously.
No, it's sales. Basically, the sales are the drivers, right? They sell, yeah.
Right.
They sell, and if they don't sell, there's no revenue. That's a driver.
Right.
Yeah. So what do they sell? That's a primary hierarchy.
Right.
Okay. So drivers are sales. However, what are they selling? They are selling products.
Right.
That's why product is a primary hierarchy.
Okay.
Okay. Now, okay. So let's quickly go through it. Okay. Okay. So when we talk about the hierarchy, the primary hierarchy, if you look at all the other hierarchies, all the other dimensions, okay, they're not that complicated. I mean, the list is not that huge. Now look at the year dimension. Look at the time dimension. Look at, now there is the dense dimension, which is account, which is a little longer if you have lots of accounts in there, okay? But other than that, everyone's are pretty simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and then there is also another dimension which is very long, very long. It sometimes is longer than the product dimension. Sometimes it is. Okay. Now let's say your business is into retail business, but it's spread across all the world. Okay. All the world. Your driver is sales. Okay. You have stores across all the world. And you have your product line. Okay. Let's say your product line is not that huge. Okay. Now what is huger here? What is larger here? They are the cost centers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's your business is spread across, right? Across the whole globe, lots of cities, lots of countries, and then under one city, you may have different sectors in the business. But when I say cost center, it's not the physical location. When I say the cost center, let's say, I mean, you should be able to figure it out easily. You have IT, right?
Yep.
IT services, and then you have BPO services, and then you have different services for your developers. You know, these kind of segregations where the billing is done at that level. For every project, there is billing, right?
Mm-hmm.
A different billing. And that project can fall under ID services or any other services,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, picking that service is called as a cost center. So pick a location, pick any location, okay? Pick any branch. You may have lots of cost centers. Agree?
Mm-hmm.
And each cost center will have different name. Although you have the ID services across New York and let's say Chicago, okay,
Mm-hmm.
for the same company, for the same company, you will have different name conventions, right? So for New York, it would be NY underscore ID services. Yeah. For Chicago, it's CH. Yeah. CY, I guess. Yeah. CY
Mm-hmm.
underscore CY underscore ID services. So
Mm-hmm.
if you look at this business will have lots of cost centers. So if you look at the dimension, which is your entity dimension, okay, because this is an entity, right?
Right.
Business type or basically the business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look at this dimension, it's very huge. It's very huge. It could be called as a primary dimension.
But Mohammed, I had a question. So, see, we have eight. Let's say we have 8 dimensions in a cube, right? So,
Yeah.
and each one is going to have its own, each one is going to have its own like structure and hierarchy and so forth, right? So
Mhm.
do we have to tell Essbase, okay, this is the primary hierarchy out of the 8?
There is nothing. Okay, so you mean to say that do you want to declare it?
Yeah. So this is basically saying there's going to be a primary hierarchy for each dimension, right? Let's say I have a cube. My company, okay, account could be one dimension,
Okay.
product one, market could be another dimension, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then another dimension could be and these are the 3 main ones, right? So account, product, market. Um,
Yeah.
what? So each of these dimensions is going to have primary and alternate hierarchies, right? If you want to
So
alternate.
let's. I think alternate hierarchies are a part of primary hierarchy,
Okay.
right? It's just that you're drawing a different tree,
Mm-hmm. But
right?
this is very like intuitive, right? In the sense when they're saying designing primary hierarchies, yeah, okay. I'm going to have to design one anyway, right? So what is the purpose of saying? Why can't you just say designing a hierarchy?
Oh, okay. Okay. So when they say primary hierarchy, it's basically what they're trying to explain you is um, you can have this example. Okay. Example is you can have one parent and then lots of children. Okay. Okay. We just have this. Okay. Now, what's the primary hierarchy in here?
I mean, there's only like one hierarchy. parent and children, right?
Yeah,
That's the
simple,
primary.
right?
Yeah.
This is simple. What if come on. Yeah, something like this, okay?
Okay.
So what's your primary hierarchy here?
I mean, to me, I would just say the whole thing, right? Column H to K. The whole thing is my primary hierarchy.
Column H, right?
Oh, okay. No, I was going to say the whole H through J is my hierarchy, but you're just saying it looks like you're just picking the first level, right?
The level 0, level 1, and level 2.
Level 2.
Generation 1, generation 2,
Right.
and then generation 3.
Okay.
Yeah?
So yeah, so
So
generation 1 is primary hierarchy?
it depends. Generation 2 could be a primary hierarchy as well if you have a lot more details in here.
Oh, okay. Oh, got
Yeah,
it. So you're okay. No, I got it. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. So in this case, parent 2 is the primary hierarchy, right? Because it has more detail than parent 1.
uh, when you say details, is it the number of members?
Right.
No. What usually happens is generation 1, generation 2. Generation 1 is always simple, right? You have a parent and then you'll have children. Generation 2 is something where you get mixed up. Okay, you'll have children of children sometimes, so
Okay.
on and so forth. So the primary hierarchy could be a generation 2 or could be a generation 3. It depends. You know, again, the generation 3 has a lots of things in there. Okay, it depends. Now, if you look at the example here, which is listed, now my primary hierarchy is what? For generation 2. Generation 1 is my family, and generation 2 is what? Performance, and then value. Okay, and then there is generation 3, which is light bulb and thunderball. This seems pretty much loaded, right? But if you look at this hierarchy, you cannot call this as primary hierarchy because there is someone above him and there is a sibling of this as well.
Okay.
This is the primary hierarchy. And then the primary dimension is something which has this kind of approach. Okay, you can't have this approach on every dimension. That's what I was trying to explain here. If you pick region, it's Simple, right? APAC, 4 regions. Under them, you will have countries. Under them, you will have cities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not that long. But if you pick the drivers, especially the cost centers entity, it's very complicated. So what this document is telling you is design the primary hierarchies as simple as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So when you analyze the data, when you are putting it down on the paper, yeah, make sure that you are doing it in the simplest way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the primary hierarchy of a dimension is typically the hierarchy with the most levels of detail. But this is the hierarchy, right? Performance and value. It has the most levels of details. It's got light gold, it's got Thunderball. Under them, you will have children's. Okay, the most level of details. The top member of the primary hierarchy is generation 2 member and should represent a total of all elements in the dimension, because this value is typically shared with the dimension member. So this goes on the top, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the roll up happens. The roll up happens at Lightbolt and Thunderball. Again, it's rolled up to performance. And the value, I mean, whatever the aggregation is or the roll up is, value is also rolled up to
Mm-hmm.
family. So this is generation 2. And it should represent a total of all elements in the dimension, because this value is typically shared with the dimension, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to make it out?
Right.
These values are constituting for this. However, the value here with all the aggregations or whatever the operators you have against these members are calculated and shared.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, roll up to the parent, and the parent is rolling up to another parent, which is generation 2. So if we talk about generations, generation 1 is the name of the dimension, right?
Mm-hmm.
Generation 2 is basically the children of, I mean, the dimension, the children of dimension. So everything rolls up to generation 2, and after that, generation 2 is rolled up to the main dimension. That's why it's called as primary hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we talked about the top of the dimension is always the label, right? Because you don't have that to be shared with anyone
Right.
else. Yeah.
Right.
In the label outline example, okay, the primary hierarchy includes total at generation 2, product families at generation 3, which is basically the performance and what? So generation 2 is performance. Generation 3 is what? Product families. And then the product line is at generation 4. 1, 2, yeah, 2, 3, 4. This is generation 2, family total. Generation 2 is family total. Generation 3 is performance. And generation 4 is the product line. Generation 3 is what? Families.
Mm-hmm.
And then generation 2 is performance and value. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what he's explaining. And on the top, you will have the name of the dimension, which is a label.
Mm-hmm.
And then he talks about designing the secondary hierarchies. Basically, this is the hierarchy where all the roll up is done, right? The major calculation part is done, or the major aggregation part is done. If there is any member formulae against these members, then there is a calculation done, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, this is a good topic. You can spare another 10-15 minutes, right? We started
Sure.
late today. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, at the end of this lesson, you should be able to describe rules files and then prepare data editor and then create dimensions in rules files. Okay, so what are the rules files basically? Rules files are the files which are stored at the Essbase database level. Okay, it's basically the Essbase database environment. Now,
Mm-hmm.
why do you need that? Because the files which are shared from the external resources, the files which have a large amount of data, which are basically the transactions, okay? And all
Mm-hmm.
that data has to be loaded on the cube, right?
Right.
Now, how are you doing it? You cannot just copy and paste those values in the cube. You need a rules file against every file where you are either loading the data or you're creating members. Basically, what do you think? I mean, you have this huge dimensions with lots of members. Do you think you create them manually one after another? No,
Right.
that's
Right.
a
Yeah. It's,
tedious process.
right.
Yeah, so you use the rules files to load data, to create your metadata,
Mm-hmm.
okay, which is your dimensions, and then you also use it. Uh, yeah, that's all. Okay, so okay, a rules file contain rules for loading data, rules for updating dimensions and members, or both. Okay, although you can load data to databases without using rules files. Is it possible?
I don't think so, but is it
It
possible?
is. It is. It is. There is a methodology of flat file. There is a concept.
Okay.
The flat files can be loaded automatically without any rules file.
Mm-hmm.
But something which has the delimiters, like CSV files, okay? They have
Right.
the delimiters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you will have to, create rules
Mm-hmm.
to load. Because the Excel file which is shared with you may have a different structure, which which the Essbase doesn't follow. The dimensions, the intersections may be different. The naming conventions may be different on your Excel. Sometimes you might have extra amounts of columns which you don't even need on your Essbase database. So you exclude them basically. So that's why you use rules files. Okay. Now this is your flat file.
Mm-hmm.
You can directly load into the database directly. There are other text files. Now, if it is the Excel, you may need the rules files. Okay. I think we can discuss more about it tomorrow. Yeah, we'll discuss more about it tomorrow. Actually, we will not do this here. I'll take you through the knowledge. However, we will load data, right, on the cube. I'll show you practically how you do it.
Okay.
Okay. It's one of the important topics. Loading data, one of the major activities.
Right.
Yeah. Opening. This is all extra. Here it is. Here, let me explain here. They didn't give us. No, I mean it's gonna go longer. No, don't worry. But I'll explain you practically.
Okay.
Field properties. Okay, so I think we can end today here.
And then we'll pick it up tomorrow, I guess, same time, 9:30.
No. Did you leave?
No. Oh, sorry. I just closed the thing.
Oh, okay. All right.
Did you want to show something?
No, not really. No, I was just trying to understand. So you said 9:30 is what? 7:30 my time?
I think it's 7, right? Originally we had it. Starting at 10.
10. Okay,
And
so 7.
right now it's okay. 10:45 here. What is the time there? 8:15.
8:15. Yeah.
So back it up.
So
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. That's okay. Yeah, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, that's originally it was 10, I think, which was to your liking before because you had an extra half an hour in the morning, but now I think they said you have another pushed it up.
Yeah.
I can back to 10 if you want, but I don't know.
No. Let's not do that. I mean, it takes a couple of classes. It should be good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. If you need like 5 or 10 minutes, I'll log in at 9:35 if you want, or something like that.
No. Let's stay on time. Okay.
Sure.
Let's stay on time. If we cannot just extend 5 minutes, it doesn't look good. So let's stay on time. Yeah. Okay. Let's just organize. Let me organize myself a little more better.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyway, so any questions?
No, I think I'm good. I had a long day. My day actually starts at 6:15 in the morning. I have to send off my sons. Their school bus comes at 6:50, so it's a long day for me.
My goodness. How